Hello everyone, today we have Operation Mechagon Workshop on the 16th as a Master of Harmony monk. I timed it over the weekend and I managed to record it. This is the route. As you can see on the little numbers that I have there, pool number 2 we skip, which is that waste processing unit, and number 3 is that last pack of mobs before the two defense robots. We had a pre so we could skip that. As for the talents, the same ones as my prior pool run, sorry, nothing changed. And for the gear, as we can see here, I managed to upgrade a lot of it. 681.44 now. I upgraded my risk from 675 to 681. I don't want to do the belt yet because once we get the new one from the new update coming next month, it's probably going to be useless. But who knows? If anything, I'll just farm out more crests. But here we go. So for this first pull, what we want to keep in mind is that we do have a decent amount of interrupts. So I have 3 interrupts, my regular kick, my leg sweep, and bring a piece. And the shaman as well has 2 interrupts. But you don't want to overpull just for the fact that you probably will wipe. Here I'm using AoE taunt. Again, always have to use it just to make sure that you get enough threat on everything. These classes are doing a lot of damage. This DK was just like popping off like crazy. The Demon Hunter died sadly on the first pull, my fault. Or maybe he stood in this early, so I'm not sure. So I'm constantly taunting. Here I get hit by the blades, but I'm trying to pull this next pack. Just because I know that I have leg sweep and ring of peace still, so I can at least delay some of the casts. And the other bomb taunts are pretty much dead. There I managed to get an interrupt on one. I'm just trying to wait and see if anybody uses anything before I use mine, but you know, they used the knocked up just as I was leg sweeping. But again, the DPS is pretty good, so there's really nothing to worry about here. I think Workshop is one of those dungeons that's pretty linear. If you have the DPS for it, you're going to time it. There's really not... It doesn't really require a lot of like a lot of hard tech or anything like that to do. You just have to tank stuff, not die, and that's it. So for this one, Black Ox statue in the middle just so they can aggro onto it in case I don't. You can see here though, I think I get hit and I take a decent amount of damage just because I didn't want to Celestial Brew and use my Aspect of Harmony yet. But, you know, I would recommend probably starting off with Celestial Brew pre-pull just to be safe. But we were good. Anyways, this fight is pretty straightforward again. It's good if the melee stand behind the bosses just so they avoid when you get the frontal. And whenever there's an AoE happening, you can probably chi burst into everybody just to help out with the healing. This healer did pretty good, so it wasn't something that I was really too worried about. But as you can see, you always want to stack all of them together and probably target the pummeler more than the For You battle bot. Just because it moves around a lot and you're going to have to start chasing it around to make sure that you get some damage on it. That's a bit silly. And of course, baiting the pummeler into that little hammer thing when he has platinum plating. Of course, Mecha Buffer falls because you... well, I aimed the car straight into his little announcer booth. So AoE taunted into him, into myself. And that's pretty much just the fight. So I'll leave you to it. Okay, so that fight was pretty straightforward, and now we go on to the next section, which is probably one of the tougher parts of this dungeon, just because you have to deal with AoE damage and AoE absorbs. So the two gunks that are there apply a healing absorb on yourself and your team, so you have to make sure that you interrupt those or at least don't let the cast go off for as long as you can until they die. There, I'm waiting for the priest to drink up. Now, one thing I didn't notice about this priest until the end was that this priest is a holy priest. I haven't done any runs with a holy priest, but she did pretty good. There, sorry, I lagged a little bit. I guess I had too much going on in the background. It lagged me a bit. So again, I haven't done any runs with a holy priest, mostly disc, but it was still pretty good. It was a pretty decent run. Though I will say that I did have my moments where I felt like I was gonna die, but you know, being smart about using cooldowns and her healing kind of kept me up, so I was good. So shout out to her. Again, I've been getting really lucky with really good healers in D16s. So again, there we kind of locked them all out for a good amount of time, so we didn't have to worry about too much on the healing absorb. There I'm pulling the next couple of packs. So here, I thought about pulling the next pack, but it would have been 3 gunks and the waste processing unit, and that probably would have wiped us. Just because it's too many absorbs that we have to deal with. I decided to end up pulling it. I felt confident, but as you can see, not that smart of an idea. I kind of lost thread there focusing on the next pull, so again, might want to take it a little bit slow here. So there, ring a piece always to the side, just to knock them away. Paralysis if you have to, and then at the end leg sweep if they're not on the DR, which is something that might happen, especially when you have a lot of stuns, like the shaman and sometimes the DK. So it's only single target, but still. Just making sure we kill these 3 gunks, and while we kill these 3 gunks, I'm also waiting for the waste processing unit that's there on top of that hill to move. So now that I see that he's moving, I'm going to move these 2 into the next pack. We don't want to pull that one, we want to skip it. And it's because it's a lot of health, it's AoE damage, and we don't really need it because we can make up the count for it by killing the dogs. They have a lot less health. They're easier to cleave down. There I'm doing ring of peace so that my healer or anybody can stand in it and then not get hit by the dogs, but obviously nobody really cares, I guess. And that's what happens when you don't have any comms or any communication with the team, but either way, they kind of took care of this pretty easily. And we just start chaining the dogs. You can probably do 5 we can do here just because I know that I have a stun. So if anything starts to get too crazy, take care of it. Also darkness. I don't know how well darkness helps, but yeah. Notice the 2 of these are really low and they're about to die, so I pull in the next one. Just to keep everything going. You want to keep yourself in combat for as long as you can before the healer starts asking for mana. Just so that you can keep it moving. Just keep in mind that, you know, we don't have a lot of self-healing, so it's kind of hard for ourselves to stay alive without the healer kind of pumping heals into us. And again, I'll show the healing meters at the end, and just again to show, like, you need, quote unquote, well, I'll say it, you need a healer that's gonna do at least 30% plus of their overall healing on you to survive these dungeons. It's just, there's just no way about it. There's just no way about it. You could play Brewmaster perfectly in terms of using your expel harm and vivifies, but you just need a lot of help with healing. It's just, there's just no other way about it. But anyways, next boss, Cujo. When he does venting flames, so what I like to do first actually is tank him closer to the box so that when he does venting flames, the DPS can stay on him like a little bit longer. Every little bit helps, whether you believe it or not, but keeping them closer to the box helps in 2 ways. One, it's more damage that the DPS can kind of stay on them and do. And 2, whenever I have Chi Burst up, I'll hit Chi Burst through the box to damage Cujo, and then also top off my team, because normally you get one of those blazing chomps on you right before venting flames. As you can see, the whole group is low, right? So everybody runs behind the box, Chi Burst, help top off my team. The healer can do it, but you know, helping them out kind of is nice as well. And then just avoiding the box and making sure that nobody gets the red circles on them. I did this one with a hunter. I think it was on a 15. And the hunter was really good with their feign deaths or their shadow
Find
mouths, I think
shelter.
it was. And Cujo only did one jump. So that was pretty cool. And again, Chi Burst threw the box into the boss, help top off your team. So you're spamming it on cooldown, and then also you're getting the most utility out of it. So again, I'll leave you to watch the fight if you want. And here we just touch up
Find
Death
shelter.
Cujo. He gets pretty low. And then for this next doggy, you just want to paralyze it and then ring a piece it. I did it backwards here, but it's fine. It's just so that when you ring a piece him, and when you ring a piece him after you paralyze him, he stays in that place instead of trying to run back as you saw he was doing there. Here I messed this up. I normally do a roll into a double jump, but I missed it there. Luckily we have a priest, so the priest kind of groups me up, so I was a little bit embarrassed because it's kind of newbie, but whatever. But it happens.
Please remain in your domiciles. Guards are currently en route to quell the disturbance.
And here we go. So I've seen something in the MDI where there was this one team. I forget if it was perplexed or mandatory, but they killed this pack and then the next pack of 3, and then they used racial abilities and the priest grip ability to kind of bypass the whole mini boss that spawns here, which is kind of cool. And a funny story is that I actually did a 10 today, being Tuesday, May 20th, and somebody tried to show me a way to skip over the bridge. So basically, you go where the spinning lights are at on the bottom part of the map, and then you jump over to the edge of the house that's next to it, and then you jump to the little metal spinning things that connect to the bridge, and you run up it, and then you just skip it. We attempted it, and we lost way more time doing that than we would have if we would have just killed the mini boss. And we lost a lot of time because our warrior bugged out when he got to the top, and our hunter missed the jump, so they fell into the water and died. And I myself could not get it done, so I just got killed by the mini boss and got life gripped up there. Sorry, got resurrected up there. But I'm starting to see that there's just like a lot of stuff that people are kind of coming up with to kind of skip a lot of these things. And sure, maybe people who do it in a 20 would have the gaming experience to do it, but people doing like 10s and 11s, like, no, just stick to doing the whole dungeon the way it is. You'll lose less time. Shaman asking to bloodlust this mini, but I'm telling them no, we should just save it for the boss. We'll get more use out of it. And if we get to the boss by 20-ish minutes, we can still have a lust for the final boss. I mean, we're not really going to get any benefit from using it earlier now, other than the fact that we'll get it again at 26 minutes, but at 26 minutes we're probably going to be doing the trash that's on the bridge before the final boss. So, again, it didn't really make much sense to me. Rather just lust the bosses in the both times that we have left.
Stay away from lines. Stay away from lines. Watch your step. Stay away from lines.
I want this stage removed from my city.
I wanted to pull this pack into the boss, but it didn't work. So anyways, this boss has a little thing to it where, like, for example, if you look at the top part of the screen, the holy priest is standing on the stairs just so that these saw blades don't hit him. Which is really smart because your ranged DPS can do that. We're all melee though. So that doesn't benefit us. But I've done this run with my guildies. Shoutouts to Gentle Caress and Area 52. And when I do this with them, we have a Disc Priest and Arcane Mage, and sometimes we'll have 2 melee DPS with us. So the healer and the mage stay on the stairs, like where the holy priest is at. That's kind of why I'm dragging the boss over to her. And they can be free casting without worrying about the saw blades. The only problem is that as you get higher into these dungeons, these plants have a lot of health, and these plants are just like rapid firing at your DPS or your healer, so they take a lot of damage. You can stun these, so everybody in our team can stun, so we should have probably stunned it as soon as we can. I feel like a lot of people don't know that you can stun this, you can CC it. Because I've done a lot of 10s, 11s, 12s because I need a crest, and I see that people don't stun the plants. So that's something to keep in mind. You can stun them, whether it's something you want to pass along, that would be great too. But this fight again was pretty straightforward. We had really good DPS. Unholy DPS obviously is going to be a little bit low in single target fights sometimes. Especially this one because he kind of had to run around a lot. So they did pretty good though. Camila did really good. Her DPS was amazing. Not to mention the fact that she has a Queen Slayer title, so you know, gotta be a great DPS in a good guild. Hunter died right at the end. No problem though. So for this is probably a scary pull as you get higher into mythics, because it's a lot of constant AoE. But luckily the Holy Priest is really good at AoE healing, so we didn't really have to worry too much. There the Shaman dropped their
Stay away from lines.
whatever it's called, Earth Golem Totem or whatever it's called. I'm sorry for these names. I honestly, oh, they're Greater Earth Elemental Totem. I'm really not good with these spells from the other classes other than like Shaman, other than Monk.
Stay
Sorry.
away from lines.
But again, we were pretty good, and using Chi Burst to heal and DPS helps a lot. One thing that I've noticed that I haven't been doing a lot is using my Vivify as often as I should, which is something that I really need to work on. I think I've been focusing too much on working on my DPS rotation that I kind of forgot to use my other utility abilities. So, as you can see there, that's two whole cycles where I didn't use my instant Vivify. So that's roughly like around, let's say, 3 mil healings that I could have done. That's 30% of one of these DPS's health, so something I gotta start doing more again. Now for this pull, we just have to try and pull everything together, right? So we know that we have the time. If we can make it to the boss by the 27 minute mark, we're still good. You really don't need more than about 5 minutes to do this boss on this key level. The DPS that we have is pretty good, so we should be able to time it within 4. But the second phase on that boss is probably the hardest, just because it has more health and it's like stronger bursty damage that you can take. I did a 16 last week. We had a shaman healer and he pretty much bricked the key for us. He died 4 times. So that was horrible. And we literally missed the key by 5 seconds. So 1 less death and we could have timed it. Now what the priest is saying is true. If you stand in the yellow dome, you get a buff. That's 75% damage reduction. Again, something that people don't know. They try to avoid not being in it, but you should stand in it. So something that I try to do here is like drag him out a little bit and then stand inside of it just so I don't take any damage from the AoE. And just to lower my damage intake as well. Like if you're standing in the yellow dome, the squirrel does almost zero damage. Like it does no damage on yourself.
AOE incoming.
So here we're still doing pretty good. I mean, this is about to die. We're roughly 8 minutes away from the boss. The next pull, if it takes 2 minutes, is fine. We're still good. We'll have 6 minutes for the boss. Here, the priest is asking if we're going to skip this. Yes, you need roughly around 95% to skip this. If you do not have 95% count, don't skip it. You're going to have to do it. And a lot of things, a couple of important things with this skip. So for the priest, it doesn't matter because they just sweep the whole pack, right? But if you're in Vanish with the rogue, you have to stack up on the corner of the bridge before you pull. Because if anybody gets left behind, Vanish breaks and those adds will pull into the boss. Will pull into these mobs and then it's pretty much a wipe if you aren't coordinated enough to deal with 9 mobs at once. So just make sure that you all stack together on one spot before pulling this back. If you have a rogue with Vanish or whatever it's called.
AOE incoming. AOE incoming. AOE incoming.
And here's the final boss. We have about 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes left to kill this. We're doing pretty good. Our DPS is really good, as you can see there. The Shaman and the Demon Hunter are just killing it. Demon Hunter funnel damage is crazy. It's like, if they just stay on the boss the entire time, they will do close to 3 mil damage. I have a Demon Hunter in my guild. He's a friend of mine who does really good damage as a Demon Hunter. He's been timing 17s recently. After, I guess being away for a while, so he came back really strong, which is kind of cool. But again, this fight is pretty straightforward. Dodge the orbs, and whenever you get the cutting beam, you just run. Yeah, the shaman is trying to DPS him at the same time while running, but got a little bit dicey for him. Something you can do here, it's not even necessary, it's just something kind of dumb. Whenever you get the frontal, you can actually roll out of it. And it won't hit you. When you get this Mega Zap, you can roll out of it and it won't hit you. So if you want to try it, you can try it. I don't know if I did it in this run. I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. You can just tank it. It'll probably hit you for about 2-3 mil. It's good. You can mitigate it with a Blackout Kick and Celestial Brew. And this is the easier part of the fight again. This guy doesn't really do a lot other than this, and he's just standing there. But it starts to get crazier. So for example here, I think I fail at it here. Yeah, I did it too late. But as I was saying, in this phase, like, he doesn't really do much. He just chases you around, which is fine. You can just run around and avoid it, DPS it still. But in the next phase, that's where it gets a little bit crazy. Because now you have the orbs, you have a stronger Mega Zap, and then when he does the magnetic pull, that can wipe your group if the healer isn't paying attention. Cough, cough. That shaman who had died 4 times. But our DPS is great. We time it, and again, pretty straightforward. When you get the Mega Zap, don't move. If you get the orbs, just move a little bit. You can move back. He has a large area where you can damage. And something smart to do here is when... There, DK almost died. But when it goes to the magnetic pull phase, you should Tiger's Lust your healer. Just because the healer is probably going to be trying to get cast off. And they're being slowed and they're being pulled.
Keep moving.
There, I think the Holy Priest died or something. I don't know what this ability is. If somebody can tell me. But I was almost worried because I'm like, no, this is a repeat, the trauma. But we managed to get it.
Blood.
Magnetic grapple engaged.
Run. Keep moving.
Cannon fully charged.
Land.
All power to weapons.
And just like that, Mechagon 16 spamming my touch of death to make sure I get it.
Won't be so lucky next
And there we go.
time.
And that brings me up to 3355 rating. So doing pretty good.
The mech originator
Heals and
has been
DPS are
destroyed.
amazing. So
And
let's look at
so
the
has
charts.
my father.
Everybody's killing it here. Obviously the DK being number one with all the AoE damage. And the healer too. Phenomenal. Like I haven't done a run with a Holy Priest, but definitely they're pretty good. That's for sure. No surprise again. Blackout Kick number one, Aspect of Harmony, Overwhelming Force. This healing meter is wrong. Celestial Fortune is bugged, I think. The reason I say that is because this screenshot I took like about 5 or 10 minutes after the dungeon ended, and my Celestial Fortune was still ticking. So it's supposed to be number two, and it was number one. I think it's because it's proccing off of my Leeching Fangs, the cloak enchant, which heals me for a certain amount after a while, and then that certain amount kind of goes into Celestial Fortune, so it's a whole mess. But that was Workshop 16. Hopefully I can time another 16 this week. I've been doing Legion content so I can get into Antorus and kind of prepare for Legion Remix. But who knows? I have 4 more 16s to time before I get to 17, so that should be exciting. Stay tuned. See you.